Hello there, I Aishwarya welcome you all to a fresh new episode of Science Monitor, our weekly update on all that is happening in the field of science and technology in and around the country. From the successful launch of the ISRO rocket to predictions about monsoon, we are here to share some good news today. Besides, we'll also learn about the precautions for good health during monsoons with our special guest. But first, let's take a look at the headlines. ISRO adds yet another feather to its success. Most powerful rocket, the GSLV Mark III, launched. Monsoon will lash out, predicts IMD. Quenching thirst without electricity, natural water coolers. And in our In Focus segment today, we will discuss about changing climate and the threat of infections. As always, ISRO has added another feather to its cap of success as researchers have successfully launched ISRO's biggest and most powerful rocket ever. Yes, the GSLV Mark III has been launched from the Sriharikota Rocket Launching Center on 5th of June. Mark III has successfully carried and placed a GSAT-19 in its orbit. And the most interesting fact about this rocket, which is capable of launching the heaviest satellite, is its special cryogenic engine has been indigenously developed in India.
Adding to the many new chapters scripted by ISRO in the area of space science, the much-awaited Mark III has been launched. Geosynchronous Satellite Launch Vehicle Mark III or GSLV Mark III, the heaviest rocket ever made by India, was launched on 5th June from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota. The launch happened at 5:28 p.m.
The launch is a historic one. It's a game changer actually. It's a game changer. This has brought in India the self-reliance, much required self-reliance in the round of 4-ton class satellite launching from Indian soil itself. We don't have to depend upon any foreign country. This is the significance of this. We are now planning on semi-cryogenic with liquid hydrogen being replaced by isoocene, which is called as special kerosene. LS2 being not an eco-friendly fuel now. That is going to take us to around 6-ton class, and the diameter will be around 6 meters. That is going to be the next step further. It's called HLV. Heavy lift vehicle.
GSLV Mark III, with a weight of 640 tons, equal to the weight of 200 fully grown Asian elephants, carried GSAT-19 satellite weighing 3,136 kilograms. The rocket launched the satellite in its orbit 16 minutes after the flight. This is the first developmental flight of GSLV Mark III, which aims to test its efficiency and the functioning of its indigenously developed special cryogenic engine based on liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen. In the coming days, GSAT-19 will be shifted to geostationary orbit from the present geosynchronous orbit, following which the solar panels and antenna reflectors will become active and the satellite will start functioning. What is interesting is that according to experts, GSAT-19 alone is equivalent to 6 to 7 conventional satellites and will provide upgraded information and technology services to the country. GSLV Mark III is hailed as the heaviest rocket ever made by India and has been deemed capable of carrying and launching 4-ton satellites and placing up to 8 tons in a low Earth orbit. Following the successful launch, researchers are confident that India is now self-sufficient in launching upgraded satellites for information technology services and launching heavy foreign satellites. GSLV Mark III is country's heaviest but shortest rocket with a height of 43 meters. It has taken 25 years, 11 flights and over 200 tests before the success of the GSLV Mark III has finally arrived.
Following disappointing monsoon rains in the last season and bringing much awaited relief to the scorching summer heat, Here comes a welcome prediction from the Indian Met Department. IMD has predicted good monsoon this season with 98% average rains, which might prove great for the crops as well.
Monsoons are eagerly awaited phenomena in India. Bringing relief to the scorching heats of the northern summers and reviving 14% of the farm sector, monsoon plays a crucial role in India's socio-economic development. As the time for the much-awaited summer monsoon in India approaches, here comes a welcome prediction from the Indian Meteorological Department, the country's state-run weather office. According to the IMD, India's annual monsoon rainfall is expected to be 98% of the long-term average this year, raising prospects of higher farm and economic growth.
In view of the positive scenario for monsoon, we have upgraded All India figure from 96% to 98% of the long-term average for the 4 months of June, July, August, September of 2017. Central India, we expect that 100% of the long-term average should be received, expected to be received, and Peninsular India also 99% of the quantum is expected to be received, whereas on Northwest India and Northeast India, about 96% of this seasonal quantum is expected to be received.
जून 7 में हम खेत साफ करते हैं, बारिश आने का टाइम है, अभी खेत साफ करके रखे हैं, लेकिन अभी बारिश आएगा तो अच्छा होगा। 2 साल से बारिश नहीं है इधर, और बारिश आएगा तो तोर गिर पे पेरते हैं। बहुत पैसा डाल के हम बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं, लेकिन अभी बारिश नहीं है। अभी बारिश आएगा तो सिर्फ बादल आते रहे, लेकिन बारिश नहीं आ रहा है, खाली बादल आती जा रही है। लेकिन ये साल अच्छा बारिश आएगा तो अच्छा होगा। हमारे को पैसा बहुत डाल के हम चुप बैठे हुए हैं, मेहनत बहुत चला है, लेकिन बारिश नहीं है इधर।
According to IMD, the monthly rainfall across the country is likely to be 96% of its long-term average during July and 99% of the average during August, both with a model error of 9%. Last time Indian monsoon rains were hit by El Nino weather pattern in 2009, when the 4-month-long monsoon season turned the driest in nearly 4 decades. The news comes as a welcome relief and to India's agricultural sector, which forms the $2 trillion economy and employs nearly 2/3 of India's 1.3 billion people.
Cold water is an elixir in hot summer. While temperatures are expected to soar high, here is the natural water cooler, an innovation that can help cool water without electricity.
Hot Indian summers are here. When temperatures soars high, a sip of cold water can be refreshing and life-giving. Now a novel, energy-efficient, environment-friendly technology called the natural water cooler can prove to be a boon to the thirsty. A brainchild of Dr. Arvind Bhai Patel from Gujarat, the water cooler can run without electricity and is based on the principle of heat exchange. The novel technology makes use of copper tubes and cools water by 8 degrees Celsius to 10 degrees Celsius naturally by sensing the external temperature and humidity.
इसमें बेसिकली कॉपर ट्यूब्स रहता है। कॉपर ट्यूब्स के ऊपर विस्कोस करके एक फैब्रिक आता है, वो हम वाउंड करते हैं। कंटिन्यूसली उसको वेट रखते हैं, मतलब बाई ड्रिपिंग वाटर। तो ड्यू टू नेचुरल इवापोरेशन, एयर सर्कुलेशन एंड हीट ट्रांसफ़र, पानी ठंडा होता जाएगा। और आपको जैसे पता है कॉपर इज़ अ बेस्ट कंडक्टर फॉर हीट एंड इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। तो जितना उसको नेगेटिव हीट मिलेगा इमीडिएटली वो पानी को ट्रांसफ़र कर देगा, तो उसी के चलते पानी ठंडा होता है। तो जितना एटमॉस्फेरिक हीट ज़्यादा होगा उतना इवापोरेशन रेट ज़्यादा होगा, और जितना इवापोरेशन रेट ज़्यादा होगा उतना ही आपको कूलिंग ज़्यादा मिलेगा, बिकॉज इवापोरेशन लीड्स टू कूलिंग।
Available in 100 and 150 litre, this low-cost energy can be easily deployed in public places such as bus depots, gardens, colleges, hostels, etc., and may soon prove to be a lifesaver.
And time to take a very short break here. We'll be back with more science news. Keep watching Science Monitor.
Unakoti, the famous Shaiva pilgrimage spot in Tripura, dates back to the 8th and 9th century. The name means one less than a crore. It owes its origin to an interesting legend that says Lord Shiva, who was on his way to Kashi, stopped here for a night halt along with gods and goddesses. Together, their number totaled 1 crore. At sunrise the next day, Lord Shiva was incensed to find all the gods and goddesses still asleep. Cursing them to become stone images, he left alone for Kashi. Unakoti, apart from its rock-cut carvings, has an imposing Shiva head called the Unakotishwara Kal Bhairav. Other eye-catching works include 3 enormous images of Nandi bull that are half buried in the ground and a gigantic Ganesh. To this day, the logistics of these huge carvings remain a mystery.
You must be knowing of DNA fingerprinting. That technology in India was started by our former director, Dr. Lalji Singh. Large number of initiatives are being done in this institute. We are also very active now in commercializing our product. Putting a lot of money doesn't mean you will discover a drug. So sometimes small discoveries lead to good drugs. So we need to keep the chair hot. But yes, we need to continuously try.
Watch Eureka with Professor Amitabh Chattopadhyay, JC Bose Fellow, CSIR CCMB, only on Rajya Sabha Television.
Currency Building, Kolkata. A 178-year-old structure, built in 1833 in the Italianate style, with Venetian windows, ornate cast iron gates and railings. The central hall of this building gets light through the sunlight overtoppings in the large domes. This beautiful building was originally the Agra Bank, and then it became the Office of Issue and Exchange of Government Paper Currency. It later housed the Reserve Bank of India until 1937. Today, the building is protected by the Archaeological Survey of India.
The story we thought we knew. The story of magnificence. The story of bloody battles. Of those who ruled and those who left their footprints. The story charting the course of our past. Talking history on Rajya Sabha TV.
Rabindranath Tagore was awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913 for his book Gitanjali. In 1950, he composed the music and lyrics for India's national anthem, Jana Gana Mana. And when Bangladesh became independent in 1971, they chose Tagore's song, Amar Shonar Bangla, as its national anthem. Tagore's life and works have made him a cultural icon, studied the world over even into the 21st century.
Monsoons, the time for hot chai, samosas and relief from the harsh summer. But the humidity of the season promotes the growth of microbes like bacteria and fungi, and stagnant water also gives rise to infections such as malaria and dengue. Water contamination also brings with it a set of infections, especially in young children. With previously unheard type of flu spread, monsoon is the time to be extra careful with respect to our health. So how can we protect our health from common monsoon infections? Well, this will be the topic of our discussion in our segment In Focus today. But first, here is a report.
Past few days, many states of the country have seen skyrocketing temperatures. But amidst the sizzling heat has come the relieving IMD prediction of good monsoons this year. But while we can look forward to good rains and a cooler weather, it is also time to pay extra attention to health, for when all of us enjoy the pleasant weather of the monsoons, we are not the only ones. The humid weather is favorable for the growth of microbes like bacteria, virus and fungi, and the high humidity lowers our immunity. While on one hand, parasites like mosquitoes and flies thrive easily in the stagnant water-spreading infections like malaria, dengue and chikungunya,
we have to be very careful, because generally in the pre-monsoon time in Kerala there will be an increase in the fever incidents. But at this time, it's unusually when compared to the previous years, this time it is very high. Especially what I understand is general hospital as well as in the majority of the private hospitals are overflowing with the fever patients. Of this, even I am seeing around 3 to 4 cases per day.
On the other hand, there are higher chances of contamination of drinking water during the season, and hence increased incidence of gastric disorders like indigestion, diarrhea, cholera and typhoid fever. Respiratory tract infections like common cold, cough, asthma and sinus infections, skin and eye infections due to dirty water and wet clothes are also very common during the monsoons. While all these infections start as mild symptoms, negligence can give rise to serious consequences. But the good news is that we can prevent them by taking some minor but essential precautions during the season.
All right, to discuss the issue of infections during monsoon, we have with us today in our studio Colonel Dr. Vijay Datta, who is a pulmonologist as well as a senior consultant medicine ISIC. Dr. Datta, welcome to our program. Dr. Datta, as we all know that monsoons around the corner, spelling relief from the scorching heat, but what are the effects of this changing weather on our health?
Madam, as you said that during monsoon, after this scorching heat, we have a relief of temperature, but in spite of temperature coming down, there is a varied humidity levels. So this humidity levels which go up and down during this time period, so we get exposed to a lot of health issues. So first and foremost is because of high humidity, we get exposed to effects of heat. That is heat, one set of problem is effects of heat. So we can divide into heat exhaustion, heat stroke, that is one spectrum. Another problem is because of the water getting stagnated into various nalas, ditches, and the mosquito breeding, the fly breeding occurs, which can lead to a lot of vector-borne diseases. So like we have in all metros, which is a major issue, the problem of dengue, problem of chikungunya, which is spread by Aedes mosquito, which bites during daytime, and the Anopheles mosquito, which bites mainly during night. So that is the mosquito-borne disorders. Then we have various gastrointestinal problem like diarrheas, loose motion, vomiting. So all spectrum of age groups, including from pediatric age group to geriatric age group, is exposed to. So they are basically waterborne disorders because of overcrowding in large cities. So we have slums which gets waterlogged, and the people get exposed to unhygienic condition.
Right.
So they tend to have water which is not potable water. So they basically have the water which is the food, or the water becomes the medium for carrying the infection. So then they have GI infection, which can be cholera, which can be various type of gastroenteritis, so which can be bacterial, and these one subset is cholera or cholera-like illness.
Yes.
Then you have typhoid fever. So the incidence of these problems go multifold during this post-monsoon period. So one has to be categorical about these sort of disorder during this time.
Dr. Datta, you mentioned about the rise in number of cholera cases. You also mentioned about dengue and malaria. But speaking about the infections, what are the other diseases that are common during such weather changes?
Because as you know that there is a swings of temperature which occurs, like sometimes the temperature is low, sometimes the humidity is high.
Yes.
So there tends to be a period when you get exposed to, your immunity goes down, so you have spread of viral fevers, viral infections. So this is the time when your body immunity goes down suddenly, and then you get exposed to viral fevers. So viral fevers to one extent, then bacterial infection, GI infections to other aspects, and these are the basic and the malaria, chikungunya, dengue fever, these are the subsets of main health issues which one has to be very, very careful during this period.
So Dr. Datta, you're speaking about a number of infections that are common during monsoons, but the thing is that how can we protect ourselves from these infections? What are the precautions that we can take?
So as I said that they are basically, one has to do the healthcare provider. First and foremost is the prevention. Prevention is like the Aedes mosquito, which is vector for dengue and for the chikungunya. It bites during daytime. So preferably one has to wear full sleeve shirts. Those who work outdoor or even indoor. One has to look into all the places where the mosquito breeding occurs. That means like overhead tanks, the water coolers where the water is there, one has to change the water, and the potable water, that means the drinking water, you have to ensure that it is proper and potable. So eating roadside eateries, one should avoid. So these are the preventive measures, and as soon as it develops fever, instead of going for auto or off-the-shelf medication, one should go in to at least a qualified doctor immediately, rather than landing up in a serious state because of profuse dehydration, especially the older age group and the pediatric age group, because they are prone for dehydration and electrolyte imbalances, which can be life-threatening. So one has to have oral rehydration solution, coconut water, or nimbu pani, which is old age traditional sort of remedy.
Yes.
So all these things, it should be there, and one should not take antibiotics or other drugs of their own.
Right. So it is clear that monsoon is the time when we tend to suffer from the most upsetting diseases, and if we don't take care at the right time, then we'll suffer for long. So take care of yourself and your loved ones during this season. Thank you so much, Dr. Datta, for joining us and sharing those valuable inputs. Thank you so much. That is all for today. We'll be back with fresh news stories on science and technology again next week. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha TV and think scientific all the time.